There we go. Look at that. All right, now I'm here with Shawn, the first actual guest on Bips Bites, the interview portion. I don't know. You've seen Nardwar before?
Absolutely.
Like, not that, we'll go shorter, more boom, rapid fire, and a little bit of the kid involvement instead of.
I love it.
No. So I think one of the first questions the kids all had was, why pizza?
So working in the food service industry, I realized quickly I love food, right? I'm a foodie. I want to eat all the food. I want to make all the food. And as I worked in different kitchens and restaurants, from Taco Bell to Dairy Queen to Rallies, and then some finer restaurants that were, just making lots of plates and Sunday specials and stuff, I got to see all the interworkings of different kinds of restaurants, from burgers to chicken to meatloaf. And in the middle of all that, I took a couple of weeks and helped a friend of mine at a corner grocery store out in Comiskey, and they had a small pizza kitchen in there. So I was just giving him a break to go on vacation. But what I did was fall in love with pizza. I already loved pizza. Like, when my parents would go out of town for the weekend, I'd say, just leave me $40. I'm just going to eat pizza all weekend. And so pizza was always my jam. Well, once I started making it, I had never made it in a commercial pizza restaurant. I just worked in this little grocery store, and they were pumping the pizzas out because there was nobody out there, open late in the country. And I said, that's it. I want to do pizza. It's not as labor intensive as raw poultry and shrimp, and so it's a little easier to handle. And I thought that's right where I want to be. That right.
Who doesn't like pizza?
Yeah, and that was the thing. I get interviewed by a lot of high school kids every year for a business class, and they say, "Who's your demographic?" And I say, "Who's not my demographic?" Right?
We tell people all the time, if you don't like pizza, then you just haven't
you
haven't ate the right pizza.
Yeah, you haven't ate the right pizza. You haven't tried the right toppings, because there are some topping combinations that aren't standard. They're not. You folks tonight had something really off the charts.
Which we had the Nashville chicken, hot chicken spicoli pizza, which we like broccoli a lot, and like especially you can get it hot. Get that
fresh broccoli on a pizza is not something I saw a lot of, and I really was going for bold flavors with that Nashville hot, and so I thought pizza lended itself to a ton of creativity.
Yeah.
As long as I could bring in foodie people, right, and they're just going to involve themselves in anything we make. So we come up with these crazy pizzas. We actually got third place best in the Midwest against Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky. About 46 pizzerias showed up for this event over in Ohio, and we took home third place. Representing Seymour and representing
There's a lot of pizza around here too. So
a lot of pizza, and we were thankful to go up against some big dogs. Places that have 8, 10 restaurants that are single owners. But one little shop, we went in there and killed it with that pie. So,
well, we liked it. It was super, super good.
Yeah.
We always get what we want, and then let the kids decide after that. Because
and I'll be honest, I'm a pepperoni pizza kind of guy. Like that's
Lars's favorite.
Yeah,
is
that's my
pepperoni.
jam. Especially if I'm eating somewhere else or I'm trying a pizza for the first time at a place, I'm gonna get pepperoni because I can taste the dough and the sauce and the cheese. Pepperonis are always.
And we grew up with Pizza Palace.
Yeah.
And my kid favorite pizza was Pizza Palace.
Yeah.
With like something about their little, the way their pepperoni oozed just the right amount of, pepperoni grease.
Sausage Palace guy. So that's been my jam.
Throw black olives on there.
Not me, man. I'm just
really. So my parents, we were from here, but Dad was like a Marine, so we moved like everywhere. We would come home. The thing we would do is Pizza Palace.
Yeah.
And my parents would get a deluxe. And then they would get a pepperoni, and that was the that was
as
the
a kid,
split.
I ate a lot of Domino's, because it was a $5 pie.
$5. We'd play for D&D. You get $5 one topping pizza
$5
before Dungeons
so
and
that
Dragons.
was my jam. But
Straight
when
up.
Mom was buying pizza, I was going to get a Palace.
Yeah, that's like at our house.
Yeah,
he gets it on Wednesdays at my mom's house. I'm like, dude, you know how spoiled you are? You know, man, Papa got money.
Yeah, and even
is
when
that you're doing it on Wednesday instead of a Friday?
I wasn't an A student, you know, so if I was bringing home C's, Mom would say, "Oh, you want?"
So you probably didn't get your Read It program.
Yeah, she just. Yeah. I did do the Read It thing. I did really
Everybody
well with
did
that, right?
They give you like 1 liters.
Yeah, and banked on those
Yeah, a
little
little
personal pans.
pizza.
I saw a thing today in 1983. A personal pan pizza was $1.39, and you could add $1.89, and you could add a salad bar one trip. $2.39 for a personal pan and one trip to the salad bar. Pizza Hut, 1983.
That's rough.
Yeah,
Be hard to do now.
yeah.
Even so, I
Couldn't
see
even put
people.
the salad bar for $2.39.
I see people. Well, people ask me on barbecue, like, oh, why isn't it blank? And it's like,
Yeah,
because
it changes every day.
20 years ago, brisket was $1 a pound.
exactly.
That ain't now.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
not how it.
cheese trades daily on the stock market on the block
Oh, I
price.
believe that.
And so, you know, what I pay today for cheese is not what I'll pay tomorrow for cheese or next week for cheese. And it fluctuates and it goes up and down.
People used to ask me why I have like certain ingredients. They'd be like, oh, why would you have like, why do you buy those when they're on sale if you're not necessarily going to need them? Because we don't hoard. We have 4 kids.
Sure.
And I'd be like, the price of it. Funny enough, eggs. I was like, I bought those eggs at a price where now those eggs are worth money. What are you talking about? It was like, I'm up on eggs.
Yeah, I see when they do Eckrich hot dogs like 10 for 10, $1 a pack of hot dogs. Like, I'm still that guy. I'm still going to eat
Speaking of
hot
which, that reminds me. I made you frozen Korean corn dogs, and then you didn't have a deep fryer.
Yes.
So we're like, in the next like day or two, I'm gonna try to like. She had the idea. She's like, bring your deep fryer, and we'll deep fry it here.
yeah.
So she's all about it. She wants.
Yeah.
She wants on. So we made you some. So I think the other question I had that was pizza specific was non-New York style. Yours is like New York style pizza, right?
Sure, I would say so.
A college pizza is what I always called it. To me, college pizza. Because every college around here that had any good pizza, it was either that or like Mother Bear's, which has like a Sicilian style.
yeah.
So what are your not necessarily place, but your non-New York style pizza? What's your other favorite type of? I'm a Detroit style pizza guy. Like it's hard to.
Like I love a good Jets Detroit style pizza. Jets has got a good one. But I proposed to my wife at Giordano's. I love a Chicago deep dish. I love the way that tomato sauce.
She's never had like a good one. Ever.
Yeah. So Giordano's, Gino's East, Lou Malnati's, and I would probably.
Now we know where we have to go.
And I would rank Giordano's.
We're going to watch Nine Inch Nails in a couple months. So.
Nice. So, that is one of my favorite style pies, but I do love the Sicilian style pizza. You know, growing up in high school for me, you know, they had a family night special at Noble Romans.
Noble Romans.
You know, you could get a deep dish,
We're big
breadsticks, and
Noble
a pitcher of pop for like $14.99. You
Yeah.
know, and that was something my mom could take us. You know, my sister and I feed us for less than $20, and I always had a couple of slices left over.
My secret favorite as a kid that wasn't just straight up pizza was Little Caesars had like pepperoni breadsticks when they first happened, and they were just like.
Man, that's my jam up at Carlos.
Which Carlos?
Yeah,
Carlos. If you're on Columbus,
Yeah.
that's at my kids go to there, so
that's
they
my
walk
jam.
over.
Like, on a
We didn't get a
Sunday-
walk in high school because somebody got hit, so she gets to walk over across.
Nice.
And they go to Carlos's because they're right there by the.
Yeah, and he's such a nice dude, man.
They are.
You know, to be able.
And they're always there working.
Yeah, they're always there working, and you know, Sunday afternoons, he closes at 5. We try to sneak up there, and even if we're gonna eat, you know, Riviera Maya or Maisie Joe's or something like that, I grab me double order of pepperoni sticks and a bunch of sauces.
Yeah, it's about the only place that sort of replicates that at all. And the cheese,
yeah,
the cheese is
is
fire.
So yeah,
That's one of those things where I wasn't a Columbus kid.
Yeah,
we
me
were
either.
missing out,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because every time I came to Columbus, we got White Castle.
Yeah.
We
You know,
didn't have White Castle, so
I think people were worried that the Mother Bears coming into that mall was gonna.
different demographic.
Yeah, different demographic.
Different time of
where else
day,
can you
different
get a slice, a couple of sticks,
Yeah.
and a soda pop for $8, right? You know, and sometimes people don't need a sit down 45-minute, you know, thing.
Looking at my youngest son.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
just
sometimes he's
yeah.
been great. That's
they just need a slice and a, you know, just a couple sticks. And a
pepperoni
pop.
pizza is his favorite.
Pepperoni's
Well,
my
and
jam.
his first favorite thing he ever liked, and this is my next question for you. His first thing that he ever got excited that wasn't mom's milk because he was a big baby
Yeah.
was I made barbecue chicken once. Like actually, you know how I do it. Like,
Sure.
And he was like that smell. He was like, he started going, no. What is your earliest non-pizza? Like, what's your earliest food memory? Like cozy food you think about? To me, it's my grandparents.
Yeah.
I think about we had beans and cornbread and like fried potatoes.
Oh yeah. For me, that's a big bowl of hamburger gravy, and boiled potatoes, baked beans, and a lot of starches, man.
Oh, yeah.
We were eating starches like crazy. You know, and oddly enough, sauerkraut went with with that
Oh,
meal
no,
for
I
us.
get that.
Yeah, so it was hamburger gravy, boiled potatoes, baked beans that were just so sugary and rich. You know, I mean, they just, you left them alone for 20 minutes and they just formed. You know, they were just baked beans. They were just so good.
Turned into brick. My mom makes the, I call them the
I want them
brick.
sticky like that.
Sweet brick.
Yeah, and so, and then sauerkraut was your acid on that. It kind of gave you that different bite when you started to take your boiled potato and a little bit of your beans and
They go together.
You swipe it across your plate and you get all that flavor. So
I feel that. We always put coleslaw on our pulled pork, and it's that same when I do like certain pork products. I think about, you go to Germany, they're like, oh, you gotta have some sort of sour tang. You go to Poland, you gotta have some sort of cabbage product to go with
that. That was the other big meal, was just that same big gravy dish that would hold gallons of hamburger gravy would be smoked sausage and sauerkraut, and then big thing of mashed potatoes and mac and cheese. You know, starches.
Oh yeah,
We were raised on them. And,
that's what we did.
Green beans, peas were about the only vegetables that I did. I didn't.
I don't do peas.
I like peas. I like the sweet flavor of the peas.
So Mama Meredith, she'll put peas in some stuff.
Yeah.
My friend's one of my best friend's mom, and she didn't know for the longest time that I'm a pea. She's like, well, Bip, always ate them. And I'm like, oh, because if you put them in something, I will eat it and expect it's supposed to be it. Yeah. And expect, I get it because I give people crap all the time. My kids eat gizzards, so I won't give people crap for what they do or do not like. That's good.
Yeah.
So what's your not least favorite type of pizza, but what's your no-go pizza topping? What do you not?
Anchovies. I'm out on anchovies, man.
I agree. I get why people think they're supposed to be theirs, because real Sicilian pizza is like got anchovies in the sauce, and it's a whole other thing, which is so far removed from if you put anchovy on pizza that you might as well have never. Because we want to make like a Christmas Sicilian where it's like that crumbly bread where they put anchovy and like a tomato sauce, and they make. And I was like, oh, that's what tomato pizza's for.
I'll be honest, if you snuck it in on me, Bip, I would probably eat it and never be none the wiser, because
my kids will eat straight up make if I make homemade Caesar salad and I put it like that. Yeah, they do. My kid, we went to the Thai restaurant when he was 2, and I get Thai food. Yeah. And she was like, came back and she's like, is the blonde kid is the baby eating Thai hot food? I was like, yeah, because if it's his level of heat is not tied to how good it is or not, and we try to do that with food.
I can literally.
He loved the wing. He liked the wings.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
I think
not too hot, but then people see my kid. I'm like, no, don't judge it on whether or not he'll eat it. Let it not high.
Worcestershire sauce is anchovies, right?
That's one of our favorites.
And I love it. Like, we buy 3 packs of Lee and Perrins, and we go through them.
Sam's Club sees me coming.
We just love Worcestershire in our house.
Vinegar and Worcestershire sauce.
I made
Worcester.
I made hamburger patties today at home and hit them with a little bit of soy and a little bit of Worcestershire, a little salt and pepper, and that was it. Just baked them up.
My mom would do that, then put them. She would use canned tomatoes, stewed tomatoes, and just call them tomatoed hamburgers.
Yeah.
Killer. It's like little meatloafs.
My grandma would do just little bitty brown hamburger, little hamburgers in brown gravy. So
Oh yeah. I'm a brown gravy guy.
Yeah,
I lived in the South a lot, so when I go to like Cracker Barrel or something, I would get brown gravy on country fried steak. And at some point, some lady was like, are you from the South? And I'm like, why? She's like, because you asked for the brown gravy. It's like,
I will say this when it comes to vegetables. I haven't eaten a lot of vegetables since I met my wife. She's got me a little more adventurous. Like, you'll actually, like, she kind of knows my palate better than I do, because I think I don't like things, but then I realize I do like those flavors.
You gotta be encouraged.
Texture's a thing for me sometimes, and so, but mushrooms now, I love mushrooms. I never ate mushrooms.
I was weird because I was.
And asparagus. I never ate that. Love it. I made some killer asparagus at home yesterday after I did the burgers in some soy sauce.
That smells like summer to me. Like grilled burgers or something, asparagus for sure.
A little bit of that hamburger grease and that soy sauce in the bottom of that pan, and hit it with about 2 pounds of asparagus in there and threw the lid on for just 3 or 4 minutes as I plated everything. It was phenomenal.
I didn't think I liked asparagus. Turns out my parents bought like canned asparagus when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that caused a whole lot of. Not that that's bad, but like
I've
not the same experience.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's more like peas, which I thought asparagus for a long time tastes like peas, which I hate, and they're not. Hey, Lars ate the last Nutty Buddy today. Little Debbie's one of the things we can't escape in our house. That feels like childhood. Like, well, if you go to my mom's house, that's still
I went
like
out
one of the
to
ways
the
that
Trader Baker's.
we like that.
They got a whole booth out there that's just Little Debbie's. They're about 3 days out. They get them right as 3 days out. I had some unicorns.
I grew up at the Hostess place.
Yeah. We did too, man. You go in there and get a sack
Cherry
full
sweet
of bread.
rolls, man. Cherry sweet rolls.
Cherry sweet rolls. Sack full of Wonder Bread for about $1.50. You know.
Go to school on like $1 and orange juice. And what was Culp's? Culp's Bakery was
I have
the
the
other
original
place.
Culp's Bakery sign.
That's one of the places I told her about like the cookies.
Yeah.
That's
They
like
had
a-
a killer coffee cake in there, man. Their coffee cake was phenomenal.
So I will make you one of my favorite things in the world to make is green tomato coffee cake, and I want you to try it and let me know what you think. It's like a super old.
Nice.
It's crazy in a way that you'll go.
No, I'm interested. Yeah.
You'll be like, yeah, your
To this
flavor.
Day, to this day, we still talk about your German chocolate cake. That's
one of my
my friend
favorite
Kendra's she's in the pub now. Her and her
He
husband.
messaged me about cake one time, and I ADHD forgot for 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks later, I was like, "Oh crap! I was supposed to make food for Shawn." I got a lot of kids, man. Sometimes I forget
it's all
that
good,
shit.
man. It's
I
all
had to
good.
get Alexis for this
That's
stuff.
my dream
specifically.
cake, though. Your German chocolate
Good.
cake is kind of the you know.
Really?
I was craving it so much. My friend for my birthday this year, his wife hit me up and said, "You know, Shawnee, what do you want? What's your cake you want to go to?" I said German chocolate cake, you know, and she made a really nice one. I was real happy. I was like, "Man, that's it. That's the flavor. It's moist, and it was just so good." And I was like, I didn't really know I liked a German chocolate cake like that until you made that one. When I told my wife that, she's like, "Really? Is that a cake? You know, I don't ever hear you order it." I was like, well, "I never see it anywhere.
And
You
it's-
never see it."
I
on
grew
the
up with
menu.
it being my
Yeah.
absolute favorite.
Yeah.
That and red velvet, like it's
Yeah.
one of those two is my go-to.
Yeah.
And German chocolate cake was one where if you do it right, it stops being frosting and it becomes it was our wedding cake. Yeah, I was like,
Nice.
I was like, I'm
Very
I'm
nice.
skipping straight to the cake we like.
Usually,
to do.
chocolate peanut butter thing is for me. A combo thing with
We do like
chocolate
that a lot,
peanut
too.
butter. Yeah, and
He likes Nutella a lot.
yeah,
Too, which is like,
you
you
get
know.
the, like the little. I'm guilty.
Little Ferrero Rochers.
Yeah, I love those. Like I get those for
And
Christmas
my mom
every
likes
year.
the
My
tofu
wife
fake.
gets me.
They got those little hazelnuts in them. They got like
yeah,
it's actually.
That's
He'll eat all the candy.
my wife for Christmas every year. I get a big 24 pack, and it's dark chocolate and then the milk chocolate and then the white coconut sprinkled Ferrero Rochers. That's my Christmas gift every
Well,
year.
now the next time I
Other
have
things
to
as
make
well.
German chocolate is I've got no more tricks since then too. So
Yeah, I'm all in.
okay, we'll do
Yeah,
that then.
I'm all in.
Good. Okay, so last question I was going to ask you, and this is music based.
Okay.
And I'll give you one of my things.
My
I will
two
give
loves,
you
food
music.
and music. Yes.
And that's our like what we always go. If we go out, we go to either watch music or that's how we met. I told her that Maynard was my man crush in music, and she was like, "Wait, are we?" And you know,
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
been ever since.
Yeah.
So if you were going to tell people to see this, it's probably mostly people we know, but 74% of them probably aren't, according to. So
Pay
that's
attention.
good. I don't know. Who would you want them to get? Somebody, they don't have to be new, but who's somebody you've been listening to recently that's not your usual, you know? You listen to a lot of music like I do, so there's a
A
lot.
lot of music, man. Stephen Wilson Jr. You know, I mean, he's emerging. I mean, we've been following him for a few years, but he's starting to really sink his teeth in. Are you familiar with
Yeah,
Stephen?
you played here, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's played
Yeah.
here. Yeah, he really has played here. But he just released a 22-track debut album. Like, who puts out 22 tracks? Full-length tracks. You know, we're not talking a minute and a half.
The weekend, and then he turns them into, and he wins a bunch of So
I run
people,
away. Is that
see,
him?
so only the good, only the guys. That,
Yeah,
you know.
so he's kind of high on my list. I like Zach Top. He's a new country guy.
We like Sarah Farrell. That's
Sarah
our
Farrell,
country person
yes,
right
yes,
now. a lot.
Yes, she is great too. But man, I stick to old school rock and roll like crazy too. You know, I was surprised to see my Amazon playlist last year had Steven, my top four, and Steven was second or third in there. Somehow I squeaked out 6,500 hours of Led Zeppelin I was listening to. So that's kind of surprised me, but that's kind of a go-to for me. I really like that old rock and roll. And,
Oh, yeah.
I like metal guitars. I was listening to Metallica today though. You know me, I'm across the board like you. Like I love everything.
We have an eclectic playlist
Very
between the two
eclectic.
of us.
Yeah, and then but if I'm in my truck most of the time, I'm listening to like Bridge FM, like contemporary Christian music, or it's so uplifting. And so sometimes when I'm floating around the radio dial, everything gets real weird. Like you hear something and then something's different. So I put it on that. And it's just a peace of mind for me. And so that's kind of last couple of years has been my go-to radio station. I will say recently though, I just bought a vehicle that had the ability to link I could link my
your phone.
I drove an old pickup that I couldn't do that, and so now I just recently found. I'll tell you what I recently just found. It's like in the last 3 days, David Byrne from the Talking Heads. He did a live from Austin, Texas show. Phenomenal, man. He wrote this song called God's Child, but he did it with Selena. Well, he wrote it and composed it, and then Selena, the Hispanic artist that passed away, right? She got murdered by her head of her fan club, right?
Yeah.
And so right. And so he wrote this song "Bad Girl." Selena, he produced an album for Selena as she started to break into the American market, and they put this "Bad Girl" song, or God's Child. Sorry, there was another song, "God's Child," in it. He sings it with her back and forth, and it's just absolutely haunting. But he does it by himself on the Austin, Texas live thing, and it's some of the jammiest, killer music I've ever heard. But I love Talking Heads from when I was a kid, so that's kind of an easy one.
My kids actually know most of this music that you stated, so I think.
Well, my wife and I were coming back from Mother Bear's Pizza a couple weeks ago, and she's playing music for me in the car, and she's picking songs, and we're listening to this song, on the Selena thing, and it's just killer. It's just such a jam. Please listen to it later. It's such a jam, and I hear this other artist on it. I'm thinking Selena, Hispanic music. She's starting to break into the American market. It's very pop, right? And so I tell my wife, I'm like, I don't know who that is, but it almost has to be David Byrne, right? And she's like, really? I mean, like, why would you think David Byrne? And I was like, it just kind of has to be,
He does a lot of different...
Yeah, and I was like, what I think I said was, but it doesn't make any sense to me, right? Like, I don't understand the correlation, but I'm kind of a new Selena fan, so I didn't realize she was really coming into her whole self
when all that happened,
right? So she was really just emerging as an incredible big artist. She paved the way for J-Lo and everybody else, but she also just was blowing up, man. And so what I didn't understand was that people like David Byrne saw all the beauty in that as well, wanted to collab with somebody like that. Her people understood that he could produce a killer album, right? And so Jen starts looking it up about the time we're pulling in the driveway, and there it says, composed and produced by David Byrne. She's like, good ear, like I was like, yeah, but that guy just, his haunting voice, man.
Pretty specific. That's how we were about Maynard. We were like, that Deftones song with Passenger or whatever. It's like the very first time I heard it, I was like, wait. Like, in the note, that's got to be.
Deftones got a big tour going right now.
They do. They're going to be at Louder in Life, too.
So
we got our 9 Inch Nails tickets.
Nice.
And we had Viagra Boys tickets, but now it's on the day Slayer plays at Louder in Life, and we missed it last year because Slayer had to cancel because of the hurricane.
We're going to see Moulin Rouge this weekend.
Oh, cool.
We're going to see Moulin Rouge, so I'm excited to share that experience. We got great seats for.
We went to the Bjork. We went to Bjork Orchestra to see Bartok and Bjork, and it was very cool because it was like two avant-garde things slammed together. It was neat. We had been to the
theater
orchestra.
has been huge in my life in the last few years too. Just seeing Hamilton and Lion King and
Alex Travis. She knows every line from that stuff.
Yeah, I mean we've saw Lion King twice. Hamilton twice. Some of these shows they just blow you away, and you. The first time we walked out of Hamilton, like we were literally hadn't made it to the parking lot, and my wife and I were like, we would turn around and go in there and watch that again. Like it just blew us.
I don't know how many times my daughter watched it to know every lyric in the first week it was out.
It played at my house on Disney Channel for a year and a half solid, probably before I would give it a break. Like it was just on and on and on. So music is as much a part of my life.
I don't know how many hundreds of hours it says we listen to at our house.
We do music here, and so that's. I've been able to marry my love of
two
food
things together.
And so
it's safe to do if your work's your passion, then you'll never work a day.
It doesn't really feel like work. It's work. Owning a restaurant,
especially when they're working on the road out front. Please come into Brooklyn Pizza.
Yeah,
you can get here. I promise.
Road construction is going to be a little rough all the way until Oktoberfest, and so we've got a big summer music plan. Artists like the Y Store and
one of the people I was going to recommend for you, Gravy Bird. My buddy's band, Gravy Bird. They're like rock, like soulsy rock, and stuff like that. He's really talented and always looking for a place. And I was like, and what a great name.
Yeah, I love the name.
Gravy Bird. And I'm like, wait a minute, I just thought about that. I was like, that's and Joe he likes music that you would like and plays a lot of. Well, he's helped us with like one of ours has been super into music, so we start gathering instruments. And he was like, here's an old Korean guitar that's like an old like knockoff Stratocaster or something.
Yeah,
and
nice.
but his music's really, really good. And I was like, wait a minute, I seldom tell people, wait a minute, I actually know this band.
Yeah.
You know what? It's funny that you said that, Bridge FM. You know who I talked to recently that I loved as a kid? The Elms.
Oh yeah.
I was talking to them recently about my childhood music stuff.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to mention,
Yeah.
Shawn feeds a bunch of people every year with your church.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Southern Baptist Church stuff.
We're at First Baptist over there, but it's kind of back here too. We've
Because I want more people to know about that. Because
on
feeding
Christmas
people,
Day,
food is love.
Yeah, on Christmas Day, yeah. So food is my passion, right? Food is my love language. My wife wishes I had 2 or 3 or 4 more because I think there's 5 or 8 maybe love languages. Yeah. But food seems to be.
Food's a good one.
That's a good one. If you give me there, then I'm dialed in. But food is my love language, and my grandparents, my grandma. When I talk about those bowls full of gravy, that was my grandma Pat, and she taught us to have a servant's heart and to get out and serve the Lord. And so food was that for me. I kind of, my deal with the Lord, like, if you can just let me work for myself and not have to put up with somebody else as a boss, I will do everything I can with food to serve the kingdom, right? And so that has became an opportunity that I was a few years in business before Bubba DiArco and Jess DiArco, who are food people as well.
I know him as Mr. DiArco.
Yes,
he's one of my subs.
Yeah, very nice. And so we all said, hey, we ain't doing nothing on Christmas Day this year. Nothing's really going on. Like, what are we going to do? And so we started this Christmas meals program, and we started it here at Brooklyn Pizza, creating a bunch of food. 300 people the first year. As many as 2,000 people have been fed on Christmas Day with this program, starting as early as 4 in the morning and done by 4 in the afternoon. This year we kind of brought it back in-house. We had borrowed some bigger kitchens to create that amount of food. And so as it got bigger and bigger, we needed to figure out how to streamline this and to figure out how to make this actually doable for people. And so we brought it back into a nice packaged lunch that we're creating beautiful ham and turkey sandwiches with fresh cheeses and deli meat and brioche buns, and really stepping it up, and then putting the condiments with it, fresh fruit, chips, bottles of water, and that way we're able to feed. We fed 1,500 people Christmas morning in 3 hours, and then had enough food to feed another 500 throughout the week that we were able to donate to local food pantries. So.
It's one of my favorite things, I've known you for a long time. It's one of the things when I always tell people about, like, why do we want to do what we want to do and get in business? Like, I want to do like Shawn. I want to be able to do my passion and pass on the feeding people, that we love and take care of.
We're this will be 19 years in business for us, April 1st, 19 years in business. And I see that we have, I say this is a collective thing. My wife is my constant support when this restaurant runs me down, because restaurants will beat you up. They're a lot of work. We're feeding several hundred people throughout the week, and you need to do it with a positive light, right? And that can really take away from you. And so thankfully my wife supports these efforts, and lots of friends who have supported us over the years, and I see that has trickled down, right? I see that has went out into the community, and everybody has their own reasons. I'm not going to take the glory for that. That's not mine to take. But we have showed them a way, or I've been able to have conversations with them and say that it is possible. You can go do that, right? And so big ups to Toby and Tiffany Calhoun on the Junkyard Barbecue truck there.
Oh, yeah.
Their mission,
she worked at Dave's Pizza back there.
Yeah,
I forgot that till the other day.
She was a
I'll
pizza
go in there
spinner
and get
too.
there. Sicilian pizza.
So that's, they're doing that same concept. They're going out there. They're giving back to our community every chance they get an opportunity to. And so that, food is beautiful. We see how much we waste in America. And so, there's programs that I've been able to see and be a part of and look at and say, man, we could do better with food, right? We really could do better with food. And so hopefully through efforts like ours and the Calhouns and you folks, maybe the future looks a little better for feeding people. Right?
Yeah.
We do have a new program hanging up over here. It's just kind of a pay it forward board, and it's, there's a couple of sandwich options. You can buy a sandwich and donate a sandwich or something. And I hear it in other restaurants, and I feel it. When people are humble enough to offer food, and people are kind enough to offer food, and people need that food, like, it's just such a beautiful feeling. And to see it happen, I saw it in other restaurants, and I thought, we really need to be a part of a program like that. And Tanner Belcher from CPR had reached out to me almost as if it It was divine intervention, because he said, we just want to be helpful with this, and we'll create a board for you, and we'll actually buy a few meals to put it up and get it going. So there's a guy who's not in the food industry. He's in the cell phone technology industry, right? But he understands the value of food and the beauty of food. And he said, I want to try to reach out to as many restaurants as I can and help them start this program, right? Because he understands that people need to eat. And so you can see food bring people together from all walks of life, not just businesses, but people who you never thought you'd be hanging out with. All of a sudden, you're sitting around a big table full of everybody's got to eat, and then that's a common love we all have, and so we can put away a lot of the craziness in the world and just enjoy food together. That's a great place to be.
That's one of the first things I ever said when we started doing like food that wasn't just for my kids, and I realized I was feeding my friends I grew up with, all these other things. Like, wait a minute, you can use food for. You always got to eat, you got to sleep, and you got to feel safe where you're at. And if you can cover one of those, you can probably work forever, honestly.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm built into this thing 20 years. I don't know when I'll stop. I'm blessed to do it. I'm thankful to do it. I do get to come in and create things every day, sometimes crazy things. We created a blackberry pizza this year with gorgonzola cheese and candied walnuts, and super well received, man. People just loved it.
We love like brie and things like that.
Yeah, so it made sense to me. Fresh fruit and stinky cheese and candied walnuts.
We should do some raclette pizza at some point,
nice.
Real foot cheese, because it melts, We should do a little crossover.
I wanted to do something with, I was inspired to talk about figs and
we love
pork,
figs.
And so I think we'll see something coming up this spring or summer that's going to include some different fruits, try different things. I'm thankful that, by brewing our own beer, we brought in this whole different crowd of foodie people who sought out creative beers. And their mindset was they wanted creative pizzas too. And so
go with it.
We didn't just get to sell pepperoni and sausage pizzas anymore. We got to sell blackberry
Seymour,
pizzas.
which is awesome.
Seymour
needs that. People will eat it.
Right.
That's one thing I've told people for a long time. When we talk about, we're from southern Indiana. People won't eat that. They actually will. They have no idea it exists.
Right.
You have no idea it exists. You can't know to eat it.
Culturally,
we'll
we're
eat
growing.
anything.
We're growing, and we will eat anything. When we see all this diversification and we see people in our community and people who have opinions on all sides of things, what I truly enjoy is sharing food. And going to these different restaurants and different grocery stores and different places. I hope that we as a nation figure it all out and be able to keep people safe and keep people fed. And so, and I hope we get to eat all different kinds of food.
That's right. It's one of my favorite things about America.
Yeah, me too.
And that leads into the final question.
Okay.
Because I think it's very important, especially because you're from America. What's your favorite cereal? This is a big deal because there's a lot of them, and you can only pick one. Or you can do if you have an honest, if you mix them together, you can do that.
I keep 2 bags of cereal all the time.
I have kids, so we have.
Yeah, no, I keep several, but there's 2 that are. I'm telling you, man.
My dad was like that.
Yeah,
my dad had to have
if
his
you ask
frosted
my mom,
flakes.
she'd tell you there's 5 boxes. There's some chocolate frosted flakes. They're
awesome.
Chocolate
Cinnamon
milkshake. Chocolate milkshake.
Ooh, I didn't know
Kellogg's
that.
frosted flakes. So got a bag of those right now. But if you're telling me I got 1 box of cereal the rest of my life, Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That's a good one. Mine's Oops All Crunch Berries. When I was a kid, if
I'd
invented the perfect
my wife right now, she'll tell you there's 2 bags. Love you too. Thank you guys. Thank you. She'll tell you there's a bag of brand new Oops All Berries, and that's my go-to. I switch back and forth.
Because you got to. You feel like you.
Right.
You'd be mad at
I could
yourself.
crunch a whole box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but I switch back and forth because I love that one flavor profile, right? That warm, dark, cinnamon.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
Yeah, cinnamon.
Cinnamon. So I love that warm, dark feel of that cereal and the milk, and then you get the Oops All Berries. And I like as a kid growing up. You're a little younger than me, so you grew up with Oops All Berries. Oops All Berries.
No, Oops All Berries is fairly new.
Okay.
I grew up with peanut butter. It still messed your teeth up real bad. Like you're hurting your mouth. You forget. I mean, there's a little gap.
All right. So I didn't know when Oops All Berries hit the market, but I'm a Oops All Berries. And so Colossal Berry Crunch, they call it if you buy it in the bag, the Walmart.
Oh, yeah.
The Walmart
We got the
bag.
Sam's Club bag. Because you get 2 of them.
Yeah, it's Colossal, super Colossal Crunch.
I'm David. I was in David's grade.
Were you? Are you?
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
you look good.
Yeah, that works.
You've aged well.
Hey, I did. True. You got. It's like you got to find once you find like the right. You get it. Once you find like a wife that like and spouse that keeps you like feeling good about yourself. It makes so much other things so much easier.
No, I agree. I
You
agree.
know,
Yeah,
I've been the most bip I've ever been since I've been with her.
seen
That's
you
for
buff
sure.
up, buddy. Buff bit.
man.
Yeah.
And people are like, how do you eat like that all the time? He's like, well,
Yeah.
I also go to the gym. yeah. We got to trade it off. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
It's like I don't even want anybody else to be the first percentage. It's like it's gonna be Shawn,
That's an
and I'll
honor.
have to edit this somehow, but I'll figure it. It won't be that much. It'll be most
Let
of
it
it.
run.
I mean, most of it except for that.
You do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Well, thank
You
you.
put up with my customers.
Yeah, I will. Hey, they're like family. Like that's
are.
one of the reasons we want to play our brick and mortar place is like I want my friends that I grew up playing D&D with who go to. That's what we do is they go out to eat. We go places. China Gardens where they had their first date.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody wants to come hang out and eat it.
This has been a busy night. I think the last 4 or
I know
5 people
Lom's
that
been in
walked
here
through
before and I've been
yeah,
here.
it's-
You know,
There's just
he likes good food.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
They're,
Shout out
people
to
grew
Lom.
up- Yeah. Shout out. We do a major Lom Vietnamese coffee beer.
The only person that can look more like Hunter S. Thompson than Lom is Gordon over there. He can bust out some
Nice.
good Hunter Thompson stuff. But anyways, I appreciate it, man.
Same man. Yeah.
Love you.
Love you too.